Today we're diving into real-life boating accident incidents that shocked families and communities. Let's start with the first harrowing story. Incident 1. Family outing turns into tragedy. It was July 14, 2017, in Clearwater, Florida, when 42-year-old Michael Turner, a construction supervisor, was enjoying a weekend boating trip with his wife and 2 teenage children. The family had planned the outing for weeks, packing food, life jackets, and fishing rods for a relaxing day under the sun. They were completely unaware of the danger that was about to unfold. As Michael guided the family's 20-foot motorboat toward a popular sandbar, the weather shifted quickly. Clouds gathered, and winds picked up. Other boaters began to head for shore, but Michael, confident in his boating skills, decided they could stay a little longer. Suddenly, a powerful wave struck the side of the vessel, tilting it violently. The cooler and fishing gear scattered across the deck. Michael's wife screamed as water splashed over the side, soaking everyone instantly. In a desperate attempt to stabilize the boat, Michael turned the wheel sharply, but the motion caused his son to stumble toward the edge. Michael rushed to grab him, but in the process he lost his footing and was thrown overboard. The chaos escalated quickly. The strong current pulled Michael under before his family could react. His wife threw a life ring into the water while screaming for help. Nearby boaters noticed the commotion and radioed for emergency assistance. His children cried as they leaned over the railing, trying to spot him in the churning waves. Rescue crews arrived within minutes, deploying divers to search beneath the surface. Paramedics pulled Michael from the water nearly 20 minutes later and immediately began CPR as his family looked on in shock. He was rushed to Morton Plant Hospital, where doctors tried to resuscitate him. Despite all efforts, Michael succumbed to drowning complications. The Turner family was left devastated. Their summer outing turned into an unimaginable tragedy. The Coast Guard later stressed the importance of monitoring sudden weather changes and emphasized life jacket use, even for experienced boaters. In the days that followed, Michael's story made local headlines as a reminder that the ocean-esque conditions can shift without warning, turning a fun trip into heartbreak in seconds. Incident 2. Birthday cruise ends in disaster. It was September 3, 2019, in Vancouver, British Columbia, when 28-year-old Emily Chen, university graduate student, boarded a rented pontoon boat with friends to celebrate her birthday. The group of 8 brought food, drinks, and music, ready to enjoy a carefree evening on the water. Emily's parents even surprised her by stopping by the marina to wish her well before departure. Nobody suspected the dangers ahead. As the boat drifted peacefully along the board inlet, the friends laughed and danced, snapping photos of the glowing city skyline. But as dusk settled, visibility decreased. Emily, leaning against the railing to take a selfie with her best friend, lost her balance as the pontoon hit a wake left by a larger vessel. She screamed as she toppled into the dark water. Her friends immediately panicked, shouting and tossing life jackets toward her. But Emily had not been wearing one, and the current was stronger than it appeared. The chaos escalated within moments. One friend jumped in after her, but the cold water shocked his system, leaving him struggling as well. Others dialed 911 while trying desperately to keep Emily in sight. By the time emergency crews arrived, she had slipped beneath the surface. Search hand-to-rescue boats scoured the area with floodlights. After nearly an hour, divers located Emily and brought her to shore, where paramedics performed CPR relentlessly. She was transported to Vancouver General Hospital. But despite continuous efforts, Emily was pronounced dead shortly after midnight. Her family, who had only hours earlier wished her a happy birthday, were crushed by the sudden loss. The incident sparked community conversations about boat rental safety, alcohol consumption on the water, and mandatory life jacket rules. By the following week, local authorities launched an investigation into rental practices and issued stronger warnings to the public. Emily's death became a solemn reminder that celebrations on the water must always balance joy with caution. Incident 3. Teens Lake Trip Turns Fatal. It was June 18, 2021, in Lake Travis, Texas, when 17-year-old Jacob Martinez, a high school athlete, joined his friends for a summer afternoon boat ride. The group was excited to kick off their vacation with tubing and water skiing under the blazing sun. Jacob's parents dropped him off at the marina that morning, reminding him to text them when he got home. They had no idea it would be the last time they would see him alive. The teens rented a speedboat, taking turns being pulled on an inflatable tube. Laughter and shouts echoed across the water. Jacob, known for his adventurous spirit, decided to be the next rider. He held on tightly as the boat accelerated, bouncing over waves and sending sprays of water into the air. Suddenly, the tube flipped. Jacob was thrown into the water at high speed. Though he surfaced, dazed, he struggled to keep afloat. Witnesses noticed he wasn't wearing a life jacket. He had taken it off moments earlier, saying it was too uncomfortable. The chaos unfolded rapidly. His friends shouted for him to grab onto the tube, but the wind and waves pushed it out of reach. Panic set in as Jacob began to slip under. The driver swung the boat around, but seconds felt like an eternity. By the time they reached him, he had disappeared beneath the surface. The group called 911, their voices frantic. Rescue divers arrived within half an hour, but it took hours of searching before Jacob's body was recovered from the lake. Despite resuscitation efforts, he was pronounced dead at the scene. His parents, who rushed to the lake upon hearing the news, were inconsolable. His teammates in school held a memorial service, remembering him as a talented athlete with a bright future. The tragedy highlighted the importance of life jackets, even for strong swimmers. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department used the case to raise awareness about teenage boating safety. For Jacob's community, it was a painful lesson learned far too late. Incident 4. Couple's honeymoon ends in horror. It was May 22, 2022, in Phuket, Thailand, when 33-year-old Ryan Miller and his 30-year-old wife Sarah set out on a speedboat excursion as part of their honeymoon. The newlyweds from London were excited for a day of island hopping, snorkeling, and sightseeing. They had shared countless photos online, smiling in the tropical sun, unaware of the looming disaster. As the tour group traveled between islands, the boat picked up speed. The captain navigated through crowded waters where other tourist boats and jet skis zoomed around. Ryan and Sarah sat near the bow, enjoying the rush of wind and sea spray. Suddenly, the boat collided with another vessel cutting across its path. The impact threw passengers violently forward. Sarah screamed as Ryan was hurled over the side into the ocean. The force of the crash left him unconscious, floating face down. The chaos escalated instantly. Tourists shouted in terror, some injured from the collision, while crew members scrambled to throw life rings and call for help. Sarah sobbed uncontrollably, screaming Ryan's name as she reached over the side, but he did not respond. Rescue boats and paramedics arrived within minutes. Ryan was pulled from the water and rushed to a nearby hospital. Doctors worked desperately to save him, but his injuries were too severe. Sarah, distraught, held his hand in his final moments. The tragedy made international news, with British consular officials assisting the family. Thai authorities launched an investigation into reckless boating practices, while local media criticized lax safety enforcement in tourist hotspots. Ryan's death, during what should have been the happiest trip of his life, left his wife and family shattered. It became a chilling reminder that even paradise carries risks, especially when safety is compromised. Incident 5. Tourist boat capsizes in storm. It was November 4, 2021, in Cebu, Philippines, when 44-year-old tourist Daniel Price from Australia joined a small passenger ferry traveling between islands. Dozens of locals and visitors boarded the wooden boat, hoping for a scenic ride despite warnings of approaching storms. As the journey began, heavy rain and strong winds lashed the vessel. The captain pressed on, assuring passengers it was safe. But halfway across the channel, towering waves struck the boat, rocking it violently. Screams filled the air as water poured over the sides. Suddenly, the ferry capsized, throwing passengers into the churning sea. Daniel, clutching his backpack, was swept away by the current. Locals shouted, trying to cling to debris and life vests. Some clung to the overturned hull, while others prayed aloud. Rescue boats rushed in, pulling dozens to safety. But Daniel could not be found immediately. The tragedy dominated headlines across the Philippines and Australia, with officials investigating why the ferry had been allowed to sail despite storm warnings. Safety advocates called for stricter regulations to prevent similar disasters. Daniel's family, who had been following his travel photos online, was left shattered by the news. His story became a haunting reminder of how poor safety decisions can cost lives on unpredictable seas.